What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the In Football We Trust podcast. I'm your host, Leon, and this is my co-host.
Mateo, what's up, guys?
Today we'll be talking about the World Cup group stages, the Qatar 2022 World Cup, and what this means for football. Not only what it means for the Football World Cup to be hosted in Qatar, but during this time in November, and also breaking up the regular season in many countries. Most European countries use the summer to the August to June schedule. So this is smack in the middle. So what do you think about that, Mateo? What do you think this means for the players and for clubs?
Well, I think it's just a real mess. I think a lot of, we've seen this actually happen because a lot of the players have become injured. We're missing a lot of great players in this World Cup, such as Mane, who just got injured, and many others. And I think it just is a lack of respect to the players who have been playing so many games. They've been having to play 2 or 3 games a week, in these past few months getting ready for this World Cup, and it's causing them to get a lot of injuries. But also, it's just too much on the players, almost not having as much respect. For me, it's almost like a lack of respect to the players that have been treating like meat, just trying to play as many games, and it just shows that football is becoming more of a business these days. And I think also being chosen in Qatar kind of shows how corrupt FIFA is as well. Since being played, Qatar, being played in November just makes no sense to the players and just makes no sense in general. Also, for us, we have to watch in school now. We cannot have those football summers watching the World Cup all day and all night, which is a bummer. So we might have to miss a few games, which is going to be a bummer. But also, I think that just being in Qatar, I don't really consider it much of a football nation. I mean, I think every country has a right to football, but I think that I would have preferred to have it in another area. And also with all the stadiums, I think there have been a huge mess with the human rights. A lot of immigrant workers, a lot of immigrant workers have died making the stadiums. I think it's just a huge mess. But what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I think that football is a sport for everyone, and the host country should be able to cater to everyone and their own personal identities and their own connections with the sport. We've seen World Cups be hosted at inconvenient times. The South Africa World Cup, I used to live in California during that time. We would have to wake up very early or go to sleep very late in order to watch the games for that. But football is a world sport, and it can be somewhere where people watch football and might be inconvenient for other people. However, this is the first World Cup being held in November, and I feel that is very unfortunate, not only for fans like me and you, Mateo, but fans all around the world, because November is not a usual month for the World Cup to be hosted, and this is the first World Cup in November. And given that the fact it's being hosted in November is because Qatar is too hot in the summer for the players to play, demonstrates that there is potential other human rights and health issues that could be present in Qatar. However, scientists have cleared it, and stadiums are all state-of-the-art, ventilated. They've all been built within the past 10 years or so. I'm very excited to see what this World Cup has in store for football and what it means for the timeline of football. And
I'd also just like to add that I think the heat is also going to have a lot of effect on the players. And I think especially for maybe a team like England who isn't used to this warm weather, I think it's going to affect them a lot. So I think the heat is going to affect a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams who are projected to do very well, maybe the heat might make them suffer. And I think I've seen a video actually recently where the England players were suffering with the heat. They are claiming that stadiums are going to be air conditioned, but I do not think that's going to work. And I just do not see that being possible. So I think the heat is going to have a big effect on some teams, and it might make some teams have an advantage. But I would like to go on with the group stage predictions. This is going to be a very interesting World Cup, and I want to talk about what team do you think is going to be like Croatia in 2018, and who do you feel like is going to surprise us in this World Cup?
Well, first of all, I feel that there are a couple key nations that are being left out of this World Cup, which is very unfortunate. It also shows that a lot of other nations have come up, taken the opportunity to step up and get the spots that were originally predicted to be that of nations like Colombia or Italy, which both in the top 25 nations in the world in terms of football. are both not in the World Cup, as well as many other nations. But I'm expecting Japan to be hungry again, despite them having a difficult group with Germany and Spain, two football powerhouses. I feel Japan could have a chance at second place.
But anyway, so let's start with Group A. I think that Netherlands is most probably going to top the group. They are in great form. They have a very solid team. And I'm excited to see how Xavi Simons is going to play. They have a very solid defense with Van Dijk, De Ligt, and I think that's going to be very cool. So I think Netherlands is most probably going to top Group A, I think.
Many people say that Netherlands has the easiest of groups. That Netherlands and France both have the easiest of groups and the less competitive. What do you think about that? Do you think France would actually find it difficult, despite them being in great form 4 years ago? Do you think that the curse will come back, the curse of the winner never makes it out the group stage next time?
I do not see France doing very well this World Cup. I just don't see them. A lot of people think France has a good chance. They might win it. No, I don't think so at all. They haven't been in great form recently. They're missing their midfield with N'Golo Kante, who's a star player and had a very big impact on their run in 2018. They're missing N'Golo Kante, Paul Pogba, who is a very crucial player to the World Cup, to the France national team. So I think lacking those two players in the midfield is just a mess, and I don't think they're going to do well. Also, they haven't, their current form has been really bad. The Nations League, they haven't been very well. Denmark, who is in their group, have actually beat them twice in the Nations League recently. And also, with Mbappe being not much of a team player, very egoistic, Benzema, who is coming off an injury and just played 10-15 minutes training with France recently, I don't know if Benzema's going to play. And if he plays, is he going to be what he was last year? Because last year he had an amazing season. But in the past few games we've seen him play this year, he hasn't been as amazing as he was last year. However, Benzema does claim that he will try and show in the World Cup, but I don't think so. So I don't think France is going to do that well. I think they will pass the group stage and we'll get to the round of 16, but I don't think they're going to reach the quarterfinals at all.
That could be possible. One group that I'd like to point out is Group B. It looks like Iran might actually step up to the plate and be able to beat one or two of the teams. England, many people are talking about them, but I really have questions about how England will perform. Obviously, we saw them last year lose the Euros against Italy in the final on penalties, so they were getting very close. How do you think England are going to fare against Iran, United States, and Wales, all which have decent players?
Well, I think Group B is a great group. I think it's a very fair group. I do think England is going to top the group. I don't think England is going to do very well in the World Cup, but I do think they're going to manage to win most of the games. I think they're going to win 2 out of the 3 games. I do think they're going to top it, but I think the second place is just going to be extremely interesting, and Iran, United States, and Wales are really going to battle for that second place. I think Wales isn't in the best of forms. They've won 2 of their last 10 games. Gareth Bale is the captain. He's a good player, but I just don't see him carrying that team and being a team captain and bringing them maybe to the round of 16. United States is a good team. United States is becoming much better in football these days. However, they are missing a striker, which I think is very important. Now, Iran, they're a very defensive team. They did decently in the last World Cup. So the second place to me really is a mystery. However, I do think it's going to be England, USA. I think USA is going to pull it off and get second place. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win that group and get second place?
Well, I'm definitely not sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a big battle for a second place, and United States and Wales are going to go head to head. We saw Gareth Bale recently coming up and really shining in the final of the MLS Cup, winning it for LAFC, deservedly so. And I think that Gareth Bale has been on decent form, but the United States, really, they have a team which has decent players, players with experience in the MLS and some players with experience abroad in foreign countries. Pulisic playing in Germany and in England. So I think that the United States have a team, but they don't play as a team as much. I'm very excited to see how Iran comes to see if they can prove themselves like Japan and Croatia did last World Cup. So I'm excited to see that battle. However, I think that the United States, by some luck, will be getting second place.
Then there's the magical Group C, the very big Group C, with everyone thinking that Argentina might win. I think this group is very interesting with Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. Now, I think Saudi Arabia is definitely going to get fourth place. I just don't see them getting any other. I think they're going to get fourth place. They're not known very good at football, so I think they're going to get fourth place for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. They didn't really perform well in the past World Cups that they've been in, and in the 2018 Russia World Cup, they were really not super exciting to watch.
I think, if anything, the big battle in this World Cup, in this group, is going to be Mexico-Poland. Now, Mexico always does well in the World Cups. I think they always are biggest surprise. Last World Cup, they beat Germany, who everyone thought Germany was going to do well. They beat Germany 1-0. And we have to talk about Mexico's goalkeeper, Ochoa, who in the World Cup always plays so well, but then the regular season, he disappears. So,
yeah.
Ochoa, I think, is very good. They have Lozano, who's very good. And I think Mexico is on good form. So I do think Mexico is going to get probably second place, even though Poland has Lewandowski, Szczesny, Zielinski. They have a good team, but I just feel like Mexico is going to surprise us this World Cup. They always do well, and I think they're just so hungry to win, and to get through. I think Argentina, however, is going to get first place. Argentina's looking very good. And honestly, I don't know about you, but I think that Argentina has a very big chance of winning it. I would love Argentina to win it. I want Messi to get
winning the World Cup overall.
Yeah, I want Messi to get that dub. I want Messi to get the World Cup. I think it would just be so good for him, and it'll end the GOAT debate. I think Messi's the GOAT. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know what you think.
He's a very, very good player. Ronaldo actually recently in an interview called him Magic. And the best player that Ronaldo ever played with or against. That's what Ronaldo said in that interview with Piers Morgan, I believe.
Yeah. So I think Group C will probably be Argentina and Mexico. What about you?
I think that Poland and Mexico are going to go head to head. Poland has a fantastic attack, and they have high quality players in their defense, midfield, and goalkeeper positions. Obviously, Lewandowski. He recently moved to Barcelona. But at Bayern Munich, he was known for being perhaps one of the best attackers in that club's history. I think he will be playing an individualistic game, and he won't be playing with the rest of the team as well as Mexico will be playing as a team. I think they'll be tied on points, but it will be up to the goal difference because they will tie their individual game. And they will lose to Argentina, but both beat Saudi Arabia. So
I think it's going to come head to head. Mexico, Poland. I think that's just going to be a killer game. But I just wanted to add also something about Mexico that I find very nice is how they play as a team. They no one wants to be the star player. I think with a team like Portugal, for example, Ronaldo, or like Man United, right? Ronaldo always wants to be the star, and I think that in this team, everyone just wants to win, and they want to win as a team. It's not I want to be the fame, I want to get the bet. I want to be the best player. So I think that's something that makes them always do well as a team and always win and win some games. And now we're gonna go to Group D. Group D, as we mentioned before, France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. As I said before, I don't think France is gonna do that well. But what about you? What do you think?
Well, we've seen it for the past 4 World Cups or so. The curse, the winner will always come in third or last in the group stage of the next World Cup. And I think that's what's going to happen here. We already see France picking up a couple injuries, players off their form coming to play. And as you said, they haven't been on the best form recently as a team either. Denmark beating them twice in the Nations League. But you have to really note, who are the other teams in that group, right? Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Really, if you remember the last World Cup, the 2018 World Cup, this is a very similar group to what they had back then. I think that group was France, Australia, Denmark, and Peru. Obviously, Peru is not in this World Cup. due to what happened in the qualifying stages and then them losing to, I believe, Australia.
Yeah, Australia actually.
So
beat
it was going to
them.
be a very similar group regardless. But I think France won't go through. I think Denmark will get first place. I think Yusuf Poulsen, as he did in the previous World Cup, he will have a chance to make it through. And I think Tunisia has some good players, but if they really have the passion, they can put up a fight. I'm not sure they'll make it through, but they can put up a fight for sure.
I think Denmark is actually going to be the dark horse of the World Cup. I think Denmark just plays so well as a team. They made semifinals of the Euros, and they just have a great team spirit with Eriksen, Kjaer. They have Schmeichel, Braithwaite as well. Like they just have I think that they don't have such star players, but similar with Mexico, they just play. Their team chemistry is just so good, and they made it to semifinal of the Euros. So they're not a team to play around with. They're hungry to win, and I think they will surprise them. I don't think they're gonna win the tournament necessarily, but I do think they might reach the semifinals or the quarterfinals because I just think they're just so hungry to win. And I think Australia might do well as well. I think similar to Denmark, they are pretty hungry.
Would it be safe to say, for your opinion, that Denmark could be the Croatia of this World Cup?
I think they might be the Croatia of this World Cup. I don't think they will reach the final, but I do think the semifinal for sure. They have an experienced team with some young players. They're hungry. They have great team chemistry. I think you're right. Yeah, I think they actually might be the Croatia of the 2018 World Cup. I agree with that for sure.
All right. So let's talk about Group E: Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. All teams who have performed in nice fashion and have players of all quality. Costa Rica with Keylor Navas, right?
Keylor Navas, such a good goalie.
Who is a Madrid legend, as you see up there. That club.
A la Madrid.
A la Madrid. And Spain, who have players from new players, old players, young prospects, people who really are hungry and passionate for this for the sport.
But I don't know. I think Spain, I don't know. I just think that Spain lacks, they have a very, very young team. And I think that I was surprised when Luis Enrique didn't pick Thiago, who's performing very well in Liverpool. And I think even though Spain has some great youngsters like Pedri, Xavi, I think that the team is just too young. And I think we're also lacking a striker that scores goals. I mean, Morata, he's a good player, but he always disappoints in some way or another. I just don't think he just lacks scoring that many goals. I like Morata, but I worry with him being our main striker and our number 9 and just having a very young team. I think we lack a bit of experience. So I think Spain worries me a bit. But what do you think about that?
Well, I think that Spain has a good shot at the quarterfinals, semifinals. They'll definitely get to quarterfinals. They might get beat depending on their opponent, but I think that really their biggest contestant is Germany, because they'll be going head to head with Germany, and I think Germany will be putting up a good fight. Germany has a very strong midfield, the likes of Kimmich, Toni Kroos, and other youngsters.
Toni Kroos is not going to go
to the
World Cup. Yeah. But I think in the Germany squad, I think a player who will perform very well is probably going to be Musiala. He's been doing wonders with Bayern Munich, and I think he's a youngster that will probably perform very well with Germany this year. I think Germany just has always a solid team, and I think, that group is probably going to be Germany, Spain. But I don't think it's going to be very easy for them because Japan is a very good team as well, and Japan is going to put up a fight. I don't think they're qualified, but they're definitely going to create some competition because, they did very well in the 2018 World Cup, almost knocking out Belgium, and they just play very well as a team. So I think it's not going to be a walk in the park for Spain or Germany, but I do think Germany will probably top the group and Spain coming second.
Okay.
Do you think that could be the case?
Yeah.
Or do you think Japan might qualify?
I think Japan could qualify. They just have to, if they tie both Germany and Costa Rica, or they tie Germany and beat Costa Rica, Germany could be lacking. And Japan, as we saw, they had a very good shot against third place Belgium last World Cup, where they were up 2-0. And then, of course, with Lukaku, a Belgian god, a demon, came back and put in 3 goals.
That's not
Or
crazy.
help for that, yeah. But Japan is gonna come passionate and hungry. The Japanese fans are known for their love of the sport,
Yeah.
for the love of the team and their own culture. And Japan, the players want it, and they have players in many leagues around the world and of many qualities. And I feel that they could be a dark horse, at least in this group.
I love Japanese fans. They always come and they clean up the stadium after they leave. I just think they're just such nice people. So and I think just Japan. I don't know why, but they have like a special place in my heart. Japan's as well. Like, I always like them. I always like seeing a different team, do well. Because I think like a lot of the game is dominated by European
Yeah,
team.
for
So I
sure.
think it's always nice to have a little bit of a surprise, especially with an Asian team. I think it's very nice to see that. Moving along, we have Group F with Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Now, I think this is going to be a very controversial thing because I think that Croatia is actually not going to pass this group.
You're not.
Yeah, and I know you're going to probably think I'm crazy, but I just think Croatia, yes, they have experience. They have Modric, who's a great player, but I think Modric's probably very tired. They lack a striker who's going to be putting in that many goals to them. Rebic is good, but I just don't think he's going to be scoring that many goals. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I just do not see Croatia doing very well in this World Cup. They're old, and I think with them playing so many games, they aren't that well rested. Mm-hmm. They'll do that well.
I think I agree with you that Croatia really their chance was last World Cup, and they played great. They really stepped up to the plate. It was very hard for them to even score those 2 goals in the final against that France team, but they still managed to do it. They didn't win, but they got very close. However, I think that they might have the same effect as France will have, where they get knocked down in the group stage. I think for sure Belgium will be going through. Belgium is a nonstop powerhouse. They continue producing great players. They continue producing players that go to the top leagues, top teams in each of the top leagues. But I really think it's Canada and Morocco. I think personally that Canada has some very, very great players like Alphonso Davies, but I don't think that they will be going through. I think Morocco could be a dark horse in this group, and I'm excited to see how they play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Morocco's going to do that well in the World Cup, but I do think that they will pass this group because Morocco,
For sure.
they have some great players. They have Hakimi, they have Ziyech, they have Bono, they have El Nasri. Like, they have some great players, and they are young. They have pace. Like, they're gonna be hungry. I think what I love about Morocco, I think they're just gonna be hungry, and they have a new team. Ziyech is back on the squad. He had problems with the old Morocco manager, so they're rebuilding, and I think that they might outpace a team like Croatia, and I think Canada. I mean, they just have Alphonso Davies, and Alphonso Davies, he hasn't been in the best form lately.
He's not.
I mean, I really like Fonzie, of course, and I hope his prime comes since Jordan Hutema left him. So I hope his prime is coming, but I just don't think it's gonna happen right now, honestly.
What about that Group G with Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon?
Ooh, that's big. But I want to just sidetrack a bit. Do you see Eto's predictions? He thinks that Cameroon might win the World Cup, and I think
it's good to be confident all of the time, but
I don't think that's gonna
maybe he has some
happen.
insider knowledge that we're not sure of.
Nah, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I do think though Brazil's definitely gonna top this group. I mean, just look at Brazil's team. Like, it's insane. Brazil has an amazing squad. I think they have the best team of the World Cup. Like,
Really?
their team is just amazing. They have
As an Argentine, you would say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're gonna win, but I think Argentina's gonna win the World Cup. But I do think that Brazil just has such a great team. They have, Paqueta, Neymar, Alisson, Marquinhos, Silva. They just have an insane team with Neymar as well.
Yeah.
Like, they just have such a good team. But so I think they will win this group, and I think Serbia is gonna get second place as well because Serbia has Vlahovic, a great striker who did very well last year. And they have Mitrovic, who always seems to do.
Mitrovic is a power. He's
Mitrovic,
powerful.
Mitrovic
he
is
knows
crazy.
what he's doing.
Mitrovic knows what's up. Mitrovic knows what's up. So he's a great player. And I also think that just Serbia also knocked out Portugal, right? Like
I believe so. Yeah.
they knocked Portugal out. They made Portugal, go into the playoffs. So Serbia is a good team, and I think that. Oh, and also we cannot forget Serbia has Milinkovic Savic, who is a great midfielder for Lazio in the Serie A. I think he's a very underrated player.
What about the consideration of their biggest opponent, perhaps Switzerland, for the second place? Because Switzerland has likes of Granit Xhaka and Xherdan Shaqiri. Is Shaqiri playing in this World Cup?
I haven't checked, but I think he probably is, and if he is, he's probably gonna perform well since he.
Do you remember what happened last World Cup?
I do remember
with the controversy, where Xherdan Shaqiri and Xhaka with the celebration. It's going to be a tough group, and there's going to be, I believe, and I think there's no way around it. There's going to be a lot of controversy of these two clubs being in the same group, and when they play, both clubs will step up to the plate and play their hearts out.
And also we cannot forget Switzerland's goalie Sommer.
He is fantastic.
He is so good. He's like Ochoa. He only sets up for like Switzerland for the national team.
He plays decently in the Bundesliga.
But I think we mainly hear about him when he plays for Switzerland.
He's played fantastic. I believe Switzerland got to the quarterfinals last World Cup, and this year I'm excited to see how far they can get again, because they do have very fantastic players, and I think they can beat Cameroon for sure and tie Serbia. Same thing with how Mexico and Poland are going to go head to head.
I just think Serbia is just going to do all this World Cup. I have a good feeling about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is probably the best group for me, is Group H with Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea.
Why is it the best group?
Well, I just think it's just super fair. Also,
you think it's balanced?
I think it's a very balanced group. I think it's going to be very close. And it's very interesting because Ghana and Uruguay, they have beef, We cannot forget Ghana beat Uruguay. Uruguay beat Ghana in the 2010 World Cup with Luis Suarez blocking the goal with his hands. So Ghana is looking for that revenge. They want to beat Uruguay. I don't think Ghana's going to be able to beat Uruguay. I think Uruguay is playing...
The likes of Federico Valverde.
They play attacking, possessive football with this manager. And I think Valverde just matches that perfectly with the way he plays. Now, I do think missing Araujo is very big. Araujo is a big player, very important for the defense. He might play, though.
Uruguay does not have the strongest defense.
But they have Valverde who literally can play anything. So I think he's going to help out. They do have some good strikers. They have Cavani, Suarez. Now we have Darwin Nunez. I think it also depends how Darwin Nunez performs. Darwin Nunez, he's a kind of a inconsistent striker, let's say to say at least. He hasn't been performing that well in Liverpool, but I do think that he's now starting to find his spot on the team. He scored recently against Southampton. He scored 2 goals against Southampton. So he is getting better. Let's just see how he does in this World Cup. Then we have Portugal with Ronaldo. They're hungry to get the dub.
Ronaldo, Diogo Dalot, Jota,
João Felix, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, like Portugal.
They're stacked.
And Ruben Neves as well. Portugal has a great team.
And Neves has never failed, I don't believe, his national team. He played at Wolves for a long time, but now he's really he's always hungry for the national team. And I remember last World Cup, Portugal did not do badly either. There's a 3-3 game against Spain. That was brilliant.
And Ruben Diaz as well.
Ruben Diaz, playing at Man City. Winning the league with them. Yeah, fantastic.
I think Portugal has a good team.
What about South Korea? How would South Korea play into this equation?
South Korea has a good team. They have Heung-min Son, who is very good. I don't know, but I think just other than Heung-min Son, I don't see another star player from South Korea. I do think they're probably going to get third place in this table. I think Ghana, unfortunately, is going to get fourth place. They have Partey, they have some good players. I just don't think they can match with Uruguay, South Korea, and Portugal.
Unfortunately,
so I think they will get fourth place, but I think South Korea is going to get third, even though they have a good team. But I think they're going to get third, but they'll still be able to pass. I think they'll have very good points, and they'll be very close. I think Portugal, I think Portugal's just gonna have. I just think Portugal's gonna get first place here. They just have such a great team individually. I wonder how we're gonna see them play. I hope Ronaldo plays well in this World Cup, and I hope Ronaldo plays more of a team and doesn't have it centered on himself. And I wonder.
He often does have it centered on himself.
And
though.
I think that could be something that could, not help Portugal that much. If Ronaldo steps up as a team player and does everything he can to make Portugal win and not only make it on himself, I think Portugal has a chance because they have a great team. But I think it just depends on how Ronaldo, the captain,
What about Ronaldo's bombshell interview with Piers Morgan? What do you think about that? How would that affect the morale of the players under his command, essentially? Because wherever he goes, he's really the person leading the squad. How do you think the Portugal players are going to react to that? React to the fact that he's unhappy at his current club? Do you think he's really going to take that anger against Manchester United and step up to the plate at this World Cup?
Wow, that's actually a great question. I mean, first of all, I think Ronaldo, I trust Ronaldo, and I think that Ronaldo didn't do anything. I agree with Ronaldo in his interview with Piers Morgan. I think if it's true with what he says, I agree. Because if it's true with the fact that Man United did not believe him when he said his daughter was sick and he couldn't go to preseason, that's a valid agreement. Mm-hmm. And for him not respecting Ten Hag, I can understand that. Ronaldo, hate him or love him, he is still one of the best players of this generation, and I think it's a lack of respect to only play in 3 minutes against Tottenham. So I do think that Ronaldo will probably leave United at the end of the season. Not only that, though, I think there is a bit of, I don't know if there's tension between him and Fernandes. There was a video that got leaked with Fernandes kind of being mad at him. So I think there is a bit of tension. Maybe there isn't. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're wrong. But we'll see what's happened. Yeah. I think, though, it's just going to be Portugal first, Uruguay second.
Yeah, for sure. So, Mateo, moving on. What is your most unpopular opinion about this World Cup? What do you think? It doesn't have to be about the success of the teams, about the success of the players. What is one opinion that you have that most people would probably disagree with?
Oh my God. I think maybe an unpopular opinion is probably that Brazil will not win. I think a lot of people think Brazil might win, so I think Brazil will not win. Another one might probably be that I don't think France is going to do that well. I think a lot of people think France is going to win. Ronaldo even said in his interview France might win. But I just don't see France is going to – I don't think France is going to advance. So I think that's another unpopular opinion. But what about you? What do you think is your unpopular opinion?
Well, first of all, one of my unpopular opinions is that the new World Cup song is not fantastic.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think this is also a popular opinion that France will not advance, but I really think that that Mexico can make it very far. They can make it to the quarterfinals and tie and lose in extra time, or lose by one goal scored after the 75th minute in the quarterfinals. I think they can go kind of far.
Speaking of World Cup songs, what do you think is like the best World Cup song? For me, it definitely has to be Waka Waka Time for Africa by Shakira. I just remember myself being little. Also, that World Cup is such a place in my heart because Spain won. I'm half Spanish, so that World Cup is very big for me. But I just remember singing that song when I was little, and I still know all the lyrics to this day.
Yeah, for sure. It is still one of my favorite songs. I don't even need to be playing soccer for me to be able to enjoy the song. I love Shakira. I listen to her music, not only the World Cup music, and I know, damn, that's weird, but like, I love Shakira. As a Colombian, you have to represent our singers. Fantastic. Yeah, for sure. So I love this song so much.
So you agree with that? You think Shakira's is the best?
I think this is my favorite. I like Waka Waka. Her 2010 World Cup song was this one, and her 2014 Brazil song was also fantastic, and that one also got, I think, 1 billion views. So
wait, wasn't that Pitbull? La
La La was Shakira, but Pitbull made We Are One with J-Lo, I believe.
Oh yeah, I think La 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 was the best one.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think Pitbull's We Are One. I also love that song so much. So yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. to the first episode, and we're gonna keep
Thank
you
you.
updated. We're gonna make a lot. The World Cup is huge, so we're gonna make a lot more episodes. I'll see you guys later. See you guys on the next podcast.
Thank you.